Hi, and welcome to Sermon and a Song. Each week you hear the Sunday sermon from the week before and also a piece of music performed by our wonderful Christ Church choir. If you like our content, be sure and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching, and may God bless you. Today's gospel reading is from the Gospel of Matthew. The Pharisees went and plotted to entrap Jesus in what he said. So they sent their disciples to him, along with the Herodians, saying, "Teacher, we know that you are sincere and teach the way of God in accordance with truth and show deference to no one, for you do not regard people with partiality. Tell us then what you think. Is it lawful to pay taxes to the emperor or not?" But Jesus, aware of their malice, said, "Why are you putting me to the test, you hypocrites? Show me the coin used for the tax." And they brought him a denarius. Then he said to them, "Whose head is this and whose title?" They answered, "The emperor's." Then he said to them, "Give therefore to the emperor the things that are the emperor's, and to God the things that are God's." When they heard this, they were amazed, and they left him and went away. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Christ. It's been almost 2 weeks since Hamas fighters attacked a peaceful music festival in Israel. During the last 2 weeks, more than 1,400 Israelis have been killed and hundreds more taken hostage. More than 4,100 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza. Palestinians and Israelis are suffering. I need to believe that it is possible to support Israel and at the same time to have deep concern, empathy, and even outrage about what is happening to the Palestinians. Throughout history, when one group has military or territorial domination over another, bad things happen. Whether it was the Assyrians in the ancient Near East, the Roman, Ottoman, or British empires, or the United States, who most recently occupied Afghanistan for 20 years. People resist having decisions made for them, especially when those people do not share a common language, culture, or religion. The land that Jesus was born in, where he taught and performed the miracles that we still contemplate today, was an occupied territory. It was controlled by the Roman Empire and administered by Herod Antipas. Soldiers were posted along the roads to remind people that their freedom and their lives were conditional upon their obedience to a foreign power. Heavy taxes were imposed on the people, which kept them poor and provided income to those who oppressed them. And even the coins they used to pay those taxes had the face of a Roman emperor stamped on them. And that meant that the money that they used was a constant reminder that the country they lived in, the roads they walked in, and the waters they fished were not in their own control. Imagine if our own currency had the image of living presidents. George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden. How would you feel if every time you pulled a dollar bill out of your pocket, you saw the face of the president that you thought was leading us in the wrong direction? The philosopher Epictetus, who was a rough contemporary of Jesus, wrote about what it was like to have the faces of living emperors on their money. He wrote, "Whose image does the coin carry? Trajan's? Give it to me. Nero's? Throw it away. It is rotten." And so when the religious leaders wanted to set a trap for Jesus, it is over the question of taxes. Is it lawful to pay taxes to the emperor or not? Now, there are only two obvious answers to that question, and they are both problematic. If you say, yes, we should pay taxes to the emperor, you are endorsing the status quo. You believe that we should continue to be oppressed by a foreign power, to live in fear. If you say yes, you are a collaborator. But if you say no, you are a revolutionary, a danger to the community, a terrorist, a troublemaker. You could be executed by the Roman army at any moment. Either way, the religious leaders think they have found a way to trap Jesus. With an answer, he either puts himself at odds with the crowds who have followed him, or at odds with the military power who control his every moment and movement. Jesus gives us a model for how to deal with impossible political situations. First, he calls them hypocrites. He knows what they are up to, and he names it. Second, he shows that they are hypocrites. He says, "Show me a coin." Sure enough, one of those pious men takes a coin out of his own pocket. In other words, Jesus makes the point that while these religious authorities are trying to put Jesus on the spot, each one of them has had to negotiate this same moral dilemma. In order to live, to buy groceries, to pay for the things they need, all of them must participate in an unjust system. Finally, he holds the coin, their coin, a coin that belongs to them, and asks, "Whose head is this, and whose title?" They answered, "The emperor's." And then he said, "Give therefore to the emperor the things that are the emperor's, and to God the things that belong to God." It is a profound point. Coins belong to government. Wars belong to government. But you belong to God. That's not an opinion. That is a spiritual and religious truth. This world belongs to God. The plants and trees, the oceans and skies, and every man, woman, and child bears the image of God. It is absurd and sinful for any one person or nation to try and assert domination over other human beings. Racism, xenophobia, homophobia, sexism, economic and sexual exploitation, violence, all of it is wrong because all of it is a denial of God. It is blasphemy. And so when we get caught up in the details of which bomb went off in what place or what time, or the terrible and violent history of the past, it is like the Pharisees' question about taxes. As people of faith, we must continue to insist that every human being has the right to live, to create, to shine forth the glory that God has given us. Christians, Muslims, Jews, agnostics, every human being bears the image of the God who created us. Here's a story that was told last by Bishop Mary Glasspool. There was once a wise old woman who lived in a cave above a village. The villagers would come to her from time to time for help with a problem or to seek advice in making a decision. When asked for her wisdom, the woman never failed to respond, and she became something of a legend throughout the country. One day, a group of villagers were having an argument over just how wise the old woman was, and they decided to trap her and prove her wrong. One young man came up with the challenge. We will go to the woman, and I will hold a live bird covered with both my hands. I will ask the woman if the bird is alive or dead. If she says the bird is dead, I will let it fly free, showing her that it is alive. If she says the bird is alive, I will crush it with my hands and show her that it is dead. There is no way she can be right. The villagers agreed to the plan and went to the mountain to the cave where the old woman was sitting outside. Wise old woman, said the young man, I am holding a bird in my hands. Is it dead or is it alive? The wise old woman looked at him and the rest of the villagers, and after a short silence, she smiled and said, It is in your hands. Friends, let us never forget what we have in our hands. We have the power to see others as holy and good, as blessed by our God. And we have the power to see people in ways that reduce them to less than that. We have the power with our words, with our actions, with our votes, to deny the humanity of others. My friends, it is in our hands. Let us be worthy. Amen.